And what's going on, guys? And welcome in to the Bench is Cleared podcast, where we cover the best rivalry in all of sports. Fuck the Padres. My name is Jesse Gutierrez, and I represent the side of the San Francisco Giants.
And I'm Tyler Coe, and I represent the 2020 World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers. You know, I've been thinking I might have to kick you out the podcast, because if we're saying best rivalry in all of sports,
correct,
in the next couple of years, I'm gonna need to find a Padres fan. You know, since they're going to be relevant.
I think you need to put some respect on my name. By the way, I don't know if you knew this, but I am officially a lord. As you can see right here, I am a lord.
You're not.
And I am
a lord of what?
My wife for Valentine's Day got me a square foot of land in Scotland. So basically, I have a house, and I'm a lord. Winter is coming, and fuck you. I'm gonna talk some shit. I'm gonna have to invade you. So
that's cool. For Valentine's Day, Taylor and we went to San Diego because I was scouting out, new co-hosts. So didn't find any.
Didn't find any. Listen. I feel like the Giants kind of have. I mean, we're coming. We're. I don't know. Like I understand. Dodgers, Padres, way more talented lineups. Completely understand it. But dude, the Giants address their needs this offseason. They've had a really good offensive season. Struggled with starting pitching a lot, and the bullpen was kind of ooh. So they've addressed their needs. I mean, I don't expect them to be a powerhouse, but dude, I mean, if it comes to that wild card game, I wouldn't be surprised if they're in it. And if they win that wild card game, which they have a history of doing,
oh God,
guess who they're going to play?
World Series. Yeah.
Guess who they're going to play?
Okay, let's talk about some real the Dodgers. Yes, I understand how playoff seeding works. Thank you.
That's it.
God, you're so in your own fantasy world. It's not even funny.
There would be like nothing to lose. Like it would be so fucking funny if the Giants knocked out the Dodgers. That'd be so funny. And if they lose, it's like, okay, yeah, well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not going to happen. So
yeah. Well, we'll see.
Keep dreaming.
We'll see.
Maybe we should talk about
parade. Oh, because you guys didn't have a parade. So
yeah. We'll have two next year after the back-to-back. Let's talk about some real stuff that's actually happening. That's in the
real stuff. Yes,
reality.
Yes. Valentine's Day. How was your Valentine's Day? Did you have a good one?
It was good. Went to San Diego. It was nice. Ate some California burritos.
That's why I had this rose here to set the mood.
Are you trying to seduce me? Because it's working.
I know you. I know your body.
Speaking of San Diego, let's just jump into it because this has happened 30 minutes ago before we started recording.
Correctamundo.
The Padres signed Fernando Tatis to a 14-year extension. 14 years. 340 million.
Correctamundo, that is. And honestly, they might be getting him at a discount if he is anywhere near the player he was last year, and if he fills part of his potential. I mean, 25 mil. I mean, and I mean, that's kind of a discount.
Potentially,
yes.
This deal could go so far south, or could be the steal of the century.
What are you predicting?
I think it could be the steal of the century, depending on. So let's say in 8 years, if he's still in the realm of what he is now,
correct,
he'll probably be the 10th highest paid shortstop at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's the first, but even next season, that's going to change with Correa, Seager, Story, Lindor. All those guys head to free agency. They're going to get a higher AAV. I mean, no one's going to get a longer deal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No one's going to get a longer deal. They're not
going to break the total of it, but yes, they will.
No,
break
but the AAV is going to be higher. So it's definitely possible in the next 10 years, he might be out of the top 10 AAV wise. And if he's still performing, then that's a steal. But the thing about it is, dude, he was still under team control for another 4 years, costing them nothing.
Yeah.
He wasn't a free agent until 2025.
Yeah.
And he's only played a combined 143 Major League Baseball games across 2 seasons. Has not played a full season. I mean, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
$340 million fully guaranteed for a guy that's played less than 150 games.
Yes, I get everything you're saying. Trust me, I do. But if you're doing the whole, what he's going to make and you're taking that whole thing into account, you're also not taking into account his arbitration eligibility. And I mean, yeah, he wouldn't make that the first couple of years of arbitration, right? So the last 2 years of arbitration, it's not crazy thinking that he would be making more than $25 million. If not, second last year, for sure the last year. So if they would have waited anything close, like if they would have waited till he was about to be a free agent, or even a year before he was about to be a free agent, he wouldn't have signed this deal. He'd be too close to sniffing $35 million a year. So I do think it's going to be a steal. I do understand that it could go south, but nothing's a sure thing. But if there's one thing closest to a sure thing, it would be Fernando Tatis being worth more than $25 million for a very long time. So that's going to affect a lot of things, especially their ability to sign players and extend players. But Manny's still young. Let's see how Hosmer does in the long run. But because I mean, those long contracts usually at the end they don't really work out, and that's fine because you're just buying their prime years and you have to deal with that. But I feel like Manny could. I feel like Tatis for sure could. But I don't know. You can't. There's no way they can sign 3 long-term contracts and they all be worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. The Hosmer contract, I think, is already a dud. I don't know how many years he has left, but he hasn't played to what they paid him for. So are you saying another long-term contract, or are you including Hosmer?
Well, I'm talking about Hosmer. Well, at first I'm talking about what's going to hold them up, right, for what going forward. But we're also talking about that the big contracts they have already, like long contracts, have a history of not really working out in the long run. But I can see Tatis is working out, obviously. We just talked about it. But I can even see Manny's working out for the most part. Obviously, his last couple of years, he's not going to be worth $30 million, but it's going to be worth it for what he played before. But yeah. I just don't see it. All 3 of them, Hosmer, Machado, and Tatis, all working out into the Padres' benefit. I mean, Hosmer's solid, been solid for the Padres, but nothing eye-opening.
Well, yeah, but you have to think they have to address pitching at some point too, because Mackenzie Gore and Dinelson Lamet are going to be under team control for a long time. Mm-hmm. But then you guys like Clev, Snell, Darvish. I mean, he's towards the end of his career. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you have these guys that are going to be your guys potentially for the next 6-7 years that you're going to have to lock up.
And technically, people are saying that the Padres are technically a small market team. And it's almost as if like owning a baseball team produces a lot of money to where even a small market team can afford this, which is crazy because it's not what we've heard. It's completely opposite. But it's almost like as if this were true, unless, of course, there's just a charity open and everyone in San Diego is just donating to it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, dude, even like I said, I was down in San Diego on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Dude, there's Padre gear everywhere. Like people are walking around the streets just, and I used to go to San Diego all the time. Never used to see that.
No, they wouldn't even show up to their own stadium.
Yeah, right. It used to be, if anyone was wearing anything, it's Chargers gear. Yeah. But now everyone has those, dog shit and mustard fucking T-shirts and uniforms on. They're a big market team.
I honestly like those jerseys more than the blue ones, though.
Oh yeah, the blue ones are hideous.
Yeah, which is weird because navy blue's a pretty cool color. But yeah, I mean, I think we got the gist of it. I'm sick of talking about the fucking Padres and how I mean, just the same thing with the Diamondbacks were supposed to be the Dodgers rival, and that was the real rivalry. I mean, like, shut the fuck up,
No,
like
the Diamondbacks were the rivalry in quote unquote. It was fun for a little bit, but the Giants Dodgers, it's always going to have that deep seated hatred. Yeah. That no other team will touch. I think the Padres-Dodgers rivalry is going to be good in the next few years. Mm-hmm. But I don't hate the Padres like I hate the Giants. Mm-hmm. I just don't. So
and
there it is.
It just seems like it doesn't. That's one thing that goes unexplained. I feel like is no matter how good. I mean, we said this a million times. Doesn't matter how good each team is, they always play each other tough, and I think there's a reason for it. So, there's something that no team that's hot at the time can take away from that. So.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with what generation you grew up in. You and I grew up in the Barry Bonds era, and we've talked about it before. Sitting in the left field bleachers talking shit to Barry Bonds. I mean, there's nothing better, and that's where that hatred is really rooted in. So it's not going anywhere anytime soon for me.
Yeah. So, and which sucks because I want to be able to root for the Padres because I hate the Dodgers so much, but when shit like this pops up, it just makes it really fucking hard for me. Like, I understand that the Giants, I mean, I don't want to say they're rebuilding because honestly, after their 20, shit years in 2017, 2019, then they were like, okay, we're going to start to, rebuild. They've been competitive. I think Farhan's put together, decent teams where they're not like tanking, they're not doing a traditional rebuild. They're still trying to compete. And, obviously for like a wild card spot, but so it's not like a traditional rebuild. So I hate to say rebuild, but I understand the expectation and is low right now. So I get it. Padres are good. I don't want to hear about it. Don't prop them up to be their rival because it just makes me offended and I can't root for them and I want to root for them. And it's hard when you have dumb kids making rap songs about it and sound like
I was so bummed I didn't run into those kids. I was really hoping like Taylor and I would just be kind of walking, then I'd be like, oh my God, is that it is? And just see those kids like
yeah, I'm pretty sure that no matter where they are, they're doing this.
Yeah.
Just completely off beat.
Hit them with the violence party.
Violence party, so fucking stupid.
It didn't happen, but
Mm-hmm. So we've been talking about address the what Farhan's been addressing and Scott Harris. I hate to not give him any credit because I feel like Farhan's just nicer to say. All right, it's one of those one first name that like recognize like LeBron, fucking Seal, Farhan. So I'm gonna give Farhan the credit.
Farhan and LeBron are on the same level, is what you're saying.
Pretty much. I mean, I don't know if Farhan can dunk. Maybe he can. Maybe he can't. You haven't seen it, so. He's addressing the problems is what I'm trying to say. And if you look at this, listen to this rotation, right? Kevin Gausman, Johnny Cueto, Anthony DeScalafani, Alex Wood, Logan Webb, and Aaron Sanchez, new signing. No one that's going to compete for a Cy Young. I mean that's obvious, but those are all really solid starters that could potentially win a decent amount of ball games. So I don't know if the offense was close to what it was last year. I can't see. First of all, I can't see how in every projection the Diamondbacks are over the Giants. This is fucking insanity.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me either.
Giants are fucking making moves. Literally, I mean, they signed Soria. Okay, put one person in your bullpen, and all of a sudden you can hit now. Like, yeah, right. It's so fucking frustrating. I don't understand it. Not to mention Buster Posey's back. Oh man,
yeah, dude.
I saw his batting practice.
Top 2 catcher in Major League Baseball, according to you.
Dude. Oh my gosh, he's gonna drop dick, bro. I'm telling you. Mark my words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, but sorry, Aaron Sanchez. He's signed for $4 million, 2.5 in incentives. I mean, at one time he was like top prospect, one of like the supposed to be next stars in baseball. He had a couple of bad years with injuries. Lost a lot of velocity, but it is reported he's back up to 98. So worst comes to worst, he was pretty dominant in the bullpen in the playoffs too, when in Toronto. So I mean, what was it, 2019 when he took that no-hitter into the 6th inning and they took him out, obviously, because that's the baseball that we're in now. I mean, he's got good stuff still, and I feel like this is it's just a Farhan signing, right? It's a not the top free agent, but someone who is low cost and could be a huge fucking a huge pickup. Just like Kevin Gausman was last year, and Drew Smyly. So
yeah, it's no risk, high reward.
That's what I was looking for. I was like, low risk, hot, good stuff.
He might be good.
He
a good pitcher.
Not shitty.
Yeah.
Give up the home run.
It's a smart move. I mean, because it has
$2.5
million in incentives. If you lose on this deal and he's just utter shit, you're losing like $2 million. Big fucking deal.
$4 million.
What?
$4 million. You'd be losing $4 million. But
I thought it was 4.5 million.
No. It's $4 million and then 2.5 in incentives. So he could be making 6.5.
Oh, regardless, $4 million is nothing. Regardless.
Well, actually.
Fuck you. No, $4 million, nothing.
Yeah, nothing to San Francisco. So
it's no Trevor Bauer, but it might work.
Ooh. Yeah, Trevor Bauer is definitely more of a sure thing, obviously. But I don't know, man. I'm pretty stoked on this rotation. I mean, I feel like Johnny Cueto to his second year off of Tommy John. So that's when they're supposed to really take their leap forward. Obviously, I'm not talking about him being like the Cy Young, getting Cy Young votes, but I think he could be a decent quality starter. If Kevin Gausman is what he was last year, I mean, solid number one for us. I mean, and then you just got a bunch of guys who can give you innings. I mean, Wood, Sanchez. I mean, that might be actually saying much because he seems to hurt a lot. Innings guy. He could be almost like what Drew Smyly was last year. Hopefully Sanchez can be on the field more than Smyly was, but the innings that he did give were high quality. So that will also get in where Tyler Beatty will be able to get in when Sanchez can't fill in, Logan Webb. So I think they're gonna take big strides this year too. Shit, dude. I don't know. I feel like they answered their holes in the rotation and answered their holes in the bullpen. They might even get another starter. Hello, Taijuan Walker, Jake Odorizzi. What's good?
Doubt it. It is crazy though that Jake Odorizzi, pitchers and catchers reported today, and he's still not on a team.
Yeah. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like if it's just pitchers and catchers reporting. If it's deep into spring training, then yeah, then there's a problem. But there's a lot of pitchers that I'm not even gonna throw or they're just their bullpen sessions just 10%. So I mean, yeah, Zach Greinke. I mean, remember what Dusty Baker said about Zach Greinke last year? Zach Greinke was like, "Hey, this is the last day I could show up." So, I mean,
yeah,
pitchers need to be there for their starts to really start their workup. But some guys, they'll be fine.
Sure.
Jake Odorizzi's a pro.
But speaking of signings, this is what everyone wants to hear. This is why everyone's here for the podcast.
So we left it for the end.
News that actually matters. Justin Turner last week did re-sign with the Dodgers, 2 years, $34 million with a $14 million club option for a third year. I don't think that's going to happen unless we end up seeing the universal DH. Mm-hmm. Then it's possible. But at the very least, he's locked up for another 2 years. Dodgers went out and did it. I like it. I think it's a lot of money. It
was the years that you wanted.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, especially with how much we're actually going to be paying him if you consider how much it puts us over the luxury tax. Yeah. But
what's the third option? Is it another 17 mil or is it
$14 million club option?
And if he's anything, I mean, if we're in the same situation we're in now, I mean, that's nothing. They can pick that up, and they have a lot of money coming off the books next year. Obviously, Kenley and Kershaw.
Yeah, but they're going to have a lot of money
want to sign
on the books on Cody Bellinger, Corey Seager, Walker Buehler.
I don't know. Corey Seager's going to walk.
Doubt it. Walker Buehler just signed. He avoided arbitration, signed a 2-year deal. But after that, they're going to be looking to lock him up long term. So it's going to be interesting in the next few years. And I just want to address something real quick.
Let's hit it.
The Dodgers have one contract that they gave out that's over $300 million, right? The Padres now have 2. So all these assholes that are like, oh, you're paying for championships. How could you pay a player so much? Go fuck yourself.
And Eric Hosmer's pretty close. So, but I feel like you can't, in the same way I've said this about the Dodgers, so don't try to freaking flip your shit. You can't really hold that against a team for doing it when it's their player. You know, like when they did it with Kershaw, that big deal. And, you know, when they do it for Bellinger, it's bringing outside players in, you know, and I'm really glad that you weren't, you know, super stoked on the money for Justin Turner. I couldn't handle you saying the word Andrew Fleeceman because I'm sick of that narrative. Okay.
Andrew Fleeceman, baby.
How is that
kid's dad?
How is that fleecing if you're paying the most money for people? That's not fleecing. I'm not saying they're bad deals, but what I'm saying is fleecing is Max Muncy. That's fleecing. They paid nothing for nobody. For somebody.
Trading for
Yastrzemski.
Andrew Fleeceman, bro.
What? Hold on, timeout. Fleecing? It was a good baseball move.
Are you shitting me?
A great baseball move. But to say fleecing, a top 100, listen, a top 100 prospect, 6 years of Alex Verdugo, who a person they did not want to give up. They didn't want to give him up in the Justin Verlander trade. That's the only reason they got you Darvish instead of Justin Verlander.
Justin Verlander was like 36 years old.
But it was the same thing. It was a 1-year rental. Obviously, Justin Verlander is better than you, Darvish.
Doug, do you understand Andrew Fleeceman when Andrew Fleeceman
it's not Fleeceman. That's not Fleeceman.
Do you think there was any possibility that Mookie would have only had that 1-year deal? No way. Yes. There's no way they fucking made that trade.
Oh yes,
no,
definitely
not
possible.
Even close.
But then he threw the bag at him and gave him a huge ass contract, paying him the most money. So yeah, that's not fleecing. That's a good baseball move for sure. But fleecing is getting one over on somebody. That's not fleecing.
Doug, he's the second best player in Major League Baseball. Second best player in Major League Baseball. Yeah,
exactly.
You dolt.
And that was a great baseball move. I'm not disagreeing with you, but to say he fleeced, that was not a fleece. So the going rate for a top player, what did Francisco Lindor get in return? No top 100 prospects. Zero top 100 prospects. And Mookie Betts got Indians for 1 year. 2 for 1 year.
That's because the Indians don't have money. They were going to give Lindor away.
The Red Sox, they needed to get rid of Mookie Betts' contract.
The Red Sox have money. They just didn't want to spend it. The Indians don't have money.
The Indians have money. They don't want to spend it. But they just have a history of not spending it. So and don't come at me saying that I think it's a shitty GM or that it's not a good baseball move, because it is. It's a very good baseball move. I'm not taking that away. I'm not saying it's shitty. I think it's very good. You do what you got to do to get Mookie. But to say he got fleeced, he did not get fleeced. There's no fleecing there.
Okay, we'll see how much he got fleeced when Jeter Downs ends up being a dud. Alex Verdugo never even comes to be in the top 20 outfielder in baseball. Then we'll talk.
Alex Verdugo is very solid. And if you're not going to pay the guy, if Boston is thinking like, listen, we're not going to pay Mookie, we're not going to spend that money right now because we're not good, then to get 2 top 100 guys, that's pretty good.
Second best. Okay.
No, I'm not saying that's
Shift
not a
your
good move and
mindset.
that you don't got to do it.
What if
I'm talking about getting
that was
fleeced.
Mike Trout? What if that was Mike Trout?
on a contract year, and you're not gonna bring him back. If you know for a fact you're not gonna bring him back, and it's 1 year of Mike Trout.
Mike Trout for 2 top 100 guys.
If I'm not competing, yeah. If I'm not competing and I'm not going to sign him the next year, what else would you do? What would you do?
You get more for him.
Tell me where in today's baseball they're giving up more for who? Lindor, obviously not as good as Mookie Betts, but Lindor didn't get one top 100 prospect, and they had to throw a solid starting pitcher with them for him to take him.
But no one, there's nothing to compare it to. There's no player of Mookie Betts. He is not Lindor, Mookie Betts caliber.
No, but he is comparable. He is comparable when you're looking at the number of years, a very talented young player at a premium position, not as good as Mookie. So, but if Lindor would have gotten a top prospect and didn't trade away, have to trade a very good starting pitcher as well with him, then I would say, yeah, that's comparable, maybe about the same thing. But that's not even close.
I disagree.
And Mookie and Lindor, they're semi-close. Semi-close. I mean, obviously, like I've said a million times, and I'll say it again, Mookie's way better, but they're comparable. They're top they're top players in the game. Mookie's obviously better. But that was not a fleece. I'm sorry. Nothing. I mean, paying that much for Trevor Bauer and paying that much for Justin Turner was not a fleece. Good baseball move. Very good baseball move. And you got the money and you want to keep going.
Hold on.
Good baseball move, but it's not fleecing.
Hold on. First of all,
what's up?
In free agent. So if I don't know if you're coming at me because I said
I'm coming at
fleeceman when we signed
That's what I'm
Trevor
saying.
Bauer.
Don't say fleeceman.
Hey, okay. First of all, stop being a little baby. Second of all, I'm not saying Andrew Friedman fleeced Trevor Bauer in that signing. They gave him $40 million. His name is Andrew Fleeceman. That's all I'm saying. But you can't fleece someone when you're going through free agency. Every player gets what they deserve or more.
La Stella is better than Profar.
Okay, we're talking about top free agent guys, not fucking Tommy La Stella.
You leave Tom La Stella out of this. Okay, you put some respect on his name. Okay.
And first of all, you put some respect on Fleeceman's name because he taught your little boy toy Farhan everything he fucking knows.
I'm a lord, Tyler.
Oh my God.
You can't talk to me that way. I'm carrying this with me everywhere I go. You better show me some fucking respect. Yes. I just took a year off your life. You're so stressed out right now.
For the people who are podcast diehards, I've gone 24 days without a cigarette, and it's been tough, but I'm doing it for Andrew Fleeceman.
But I'm pushing you right now. I get it.
Push.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's obviously. I mean, the thing that him and Farhan have built, as far as still drafting. That late in the draft for so long and still coming up with top prospects and still competing and having this long run is very good. If you want to talk about the draft and you say Andrew Fleeceman, I got you. I completely understand it. You want to say Fleeceman for I can't think of anything on the top of my head, but I'm sure you know plenty of other things. But let's not talk about like he fleeced Boston because he didn't fleece Boston. I feel like they got a solid return for a player they weren't going to sign, and he pays the most money for players. And he'll match Milwaukee, but if you got two chances of Milwaukee and LA, I mean, forget about baseball where the teams are right now. Let's forget about playoffs every year and barely scraping by under 500 record and making the playoffs.
Yeah, Milwaukee's a shit.
Living in Wisconsin to living in LA.
The Packers are there.
Come on. Okay.
I'm not in Milwaukee, but they're in Wisconsin. But yeah, no one wants to live in Wisconsin.
No one wants to live
Packers
there.
Are shit.
Okay.
Fuck so Aaron Rodgers.
You got a leg up. You got a leg up.
My mind.
Sorry. Yeah. You got a leg up. He's using what he's got, and that's great. And he he should be praised. Great president of baseball operations. But he ain't fleece.
God, you're so salty.
They ain't fleecing.
So salty. I'm so angry right now. I don't even know what we were supposed to talk about for the rest of this episode.
It's my salt sandwich. Hi.
Oh, let's shift modes for a little bit because I'm too angry to keep doing this with you. I hate just looking at your patchy beard face. Is just it's sending me through the fucking.
You can't even
right
speak
now.
words right now, and I love it. You're like your stupid face hair.
Yeah,
this is great. Oh man, I can see the steam come out of your ears. You got some actual color on you. It's nice. It's nice to see.
I got this beautiful Armenian olive skin. What are you talking about, bro? Anyway, I put it out there on Twitter last night because I'm considering going to spring training, but I'm in a different circumstance than a lot of people. But I'm curious to see what it would take for people to go to the ballpark. Mm-hmm. So for those of you who don't know, the Giants and the Dodgers for spring training are going to be releasing tickets in pods of 2, 4, and 6 tickets, I believe. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be operating at about 18% full capacity or 18%.
I can't imagine how much those tickets are going to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of worried about.
If they're selling tickets, we could probably look it up right now, no?
So I don't know, because the other night they weren't on sale yet.
Oh, okay. So they're not on sale. We don't know, but I would imagine if they're 18%, I don't think they're going to go too crazy for. I think they realize they want some type of money and they're going to be more than regular tickets. But I can't remember. I've only been to spring training once. I don't remember what I paid for a ticket. I want to say it was like $40, $50 if I'm remembering.
They're not as cheap as you would expect them to be
for spring training, right? Especially
unless you sit on the grass, and even that's still like $20.
Yeah, but if you're sitting on the grass, you can usually probably weasel your way into a seat. But I don't know, man. I can't imagine it being under $80 now if they're going to run 18% capacity. And to me, obviously the big thing about spring training, the big reason you would go and pay that much money to maybe see one player, 2 players, depending what part of spring training you go to, beginning, middle, or end, there's guys signing shit. That's not going to happen.
Access to the players, right?
And that's not going to happen.
Well, and that's the other thing is it's not going to happen during the regular season either, which is kind of a bummer. I mean,
but honestly, that was a little more rare. Having guys sign and
you always get guys going up the first and third baseline, but I'm more concerned about what they're going to do during the actual season, because think about it, like Dodger Stadium right now, that's the biggest vaccination site in California.
Yeah.
So how are you going to justify closing that down so people can come into the ballpark? I don't see it happening.
Well, you also got to understand too. Obviously, you've seen it. You did not get vaccinated there. You tried to get vaccinated there, so you've seen it. Did they take the entire parking lot?
No.
Okay, so what probably is going to happen is they're going to shrink the size, I would imagine, and just do one part of the parking lot, and that parking lot's closed.
But they use 2 gates.
Well, so they're going to use 1 gate now. So.
And they use.
Which, if you're in a car, it's fine. I mean, if cars are going right next to each other like this, it should be fine. I mean, you're in your enclosed car.
Yeah, but they use the gate when you get off at Stadium Way and go through Elysian Park. They're using that gate, and that's the gate most people. If you're coming north of LA, that's the gate everyone uses.
Well, you're going to have to find another gate. That's just the way it is, baby. And not only that, it's going to be a lot less crowded because it's not going to be 40, 50,000 in there. It's going to be 10, 15,000. Yeah, I would imagine. I'm just throwing a number. So, please don't fact check me. But, you know what I'm saying?
It's going to be 110,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. So, you're not going to have to worry if when you're parking, it's like, hey, you can only come in through this entrance. I don't think it'd be a big deal because it's going to be a third of.
But think about this. Think about this. Right now, anyone getting vaccinated is 65 or older.
Yes.
Or a healthcare worker, right?
Okay. Yep.
They're about to open it up to 16. Anyone from 16 to, whatever age, as long as you have an underlying health condition, which is fucking everyone. If you have asthma, if you're diabetic, if you're overweight.
Yep. And by the way, if you are one of the persons who, I know this is going a little off track, but that should just show you, like, if you were one of those people that were like, oh, coronavirus isn't a big deal because, it just affects people with underlying conditions. That's a lot of fucking people. So
yeah,
you're a dick for saying that. Go ahead, Tyler. Sorry to cut you off, but kind of not really.
No, just think about it this way. How many more people are they going to have to start vaccinating in the next month, the next coming months? So that's why when you're saying, oh, just shrink it down, that doesn't really make sense because if anything, they're going to have to start expanding vaccination sites to fit the demand.
I do understand that, but the thing is, they're going to have to make some type of money. I'm sure they're making money by using Dodger Stadium as a parking lot. I mean, as a vaccination center. But if they just make it a little bit smaller, and even if they don't make it smaller, just use the entrances that aren't being used at the moment to let fans in and tell them this is the only gate you can use it. And it's not like it would create a huge traffic backed up till forever because only a third or a fifth of the people that are usually coming are coming. So,
first of all, bro, are you telling me that I have to use a different entrance?
Yes.
And I would have to get on the 110 or then get on the 2 and get on Sunset. That's a lot of work for me, and I don't really like that. So I'd rather them just keep it for me, and I just be able to do what I normally do.
Well, all you have to do is just go up to the gate and just be like, obviously you get paparazzi outside of Dodger Stadium all the time, and just, hey, listen, it's me, Tyler. Bed just cleared. It is what it is. I'm going to go in. Then they're going to be like, oh, shut. Get them through. And they're going to open a bunch of stuff, and you're going to be fine.
I feel like I could pull off like Cody Bellinger. Be like, hey, look, it's me, fat Cody Bellinger. I gained 140 pounds.
Like a fat Klay Thompson?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God.
He'll be like, okay, cool. I'll be like, yeah, dude, I've smoked so much weed. I'm so hungry.
Yeah. Like, oh, this has to be him. This has to be him.
They get it. As always, this episode is brought to you by Renovation Candle Company. Spring collection's out now. Go get some. Do your thing. Baseball's almost here. I don't care anymore. That's all I got to say.
Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to put some respect on my name. Follow us on Twitter, Bitches Clear P, Instagram, Bitches Clear Podcast. Subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next motherfucking week. Happy pitchers and catchers reporting day and a couple weeks of games. See you guys next week.